In the book of Ruth, we read of a lady named Naomi who lost all her security after she and her family moved to the land of Moab. Her husband and her 2 sons died, and she was left a widow without children, which was about the worst possible economic situation for a woman in those days. When she decided to move back to her homeland of Israel, Ruth, the widow of one of her sons, determined to move back with her. These 2 widows, one older and one younger, were a pitiful couple. Neither had the skills or the strength to make any kind of a living, and they lived in Israel in poverty, with Ruth going out to glean grain in the fields, picking up leftover grain once the harvesters had gone through the crops. When Naomi learned from Ruth that she had been harvesting in the fields of a man named Boaz, she took hope. This man was a wealthy relative, and she wondered if there was not a way to entice him to marry the hapless Ruth. The Bible tells us that she said to Ruth, "My daughter, shall I not seek security for you, that it may be well with you?" The word translated security in the New King James Version is also sometimes translated as rest, which is the more literal meaning of the Hebrew word. However, the word rest was often used in connection with the idea of security. She was telling Ruth that she had a plan to provide her young daughter-in-law with a place of safety, abundance, and security. She went on to suggest a plan whereby Ruth could make it clear to Boaz that she was willing and available to marry him. And it worked exactly as Naomi hoped it would. Boaz did indeed marry Ruth, and the situation for both these ladies went from dismal to prosperous. Ruth found the security, that rest, that she needed so desperately. But Ruth is not the only person in history badly in need of security and rest. The truth is, we all need this. And God knows this and graciously provides situations of rest and security for His children. It usually involves a house to live in, food to eat, and the income necessary to maintain these. For nearly all of us, our parents provided us this rest when we were children. The first house I can remember was a small 2-bedroom house in a St. Louis suburb. This was the first house my parents had ever owned, and it was modest to say the least. But it was my home from the age of about 3 until the age of 12. The living room was small, and there was no real dining room. We ate at a table set up in the kitchen. As a growing boy, I never thought about the fact that most Americans lived in houses quite a bit nicer and more spacious than ours. I just knew that this was home. The roof kept the rain off our heads, and when the storms raged outside, we were dry. In those snowy St. Louis winters, the little heater kept our house warm. In this house, we ate our meals, watched TV, and my sister and I played and argued and slept comfortably. It was home. It was our place of rest. We never worried about the money to pay the monthly mortgage payments. That was Dad's business, and he never failed us. We never feared or even thought about being homeless. Now, many of you can identify with this. But childhood does not last forever. It gives way to adulthood, and then we find ourselves needing to provide this security for our own families or for ourselves. And this brings us to an important point about the various places of rest that God provides us. They nearly all have an expiration date. When the prophet Elijah was being sought by the king of Israel who wanted him dead, God provided him a place for him near a stream. That was his place of rest. And God even instructed ravens to bring food to him every day. Everything went along fine for a while. But the Bible tells us, "And it happened after a while that the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. Then the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Arise, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. See, I have commanded a widow there to provide for you." In most of our lives, God will provide us secure places and positions, but often He will later withdraw those blessings and lift His grace from them. He does this not to punish us, but because He has new lessons for us to learn, new challenges to stretch and grow our faith, and new opportunities for us that would never have happened had we stayed in our present comfort zone any longer. But these kinds of places, jobs, careers, houses, geographical locations, and spouses are not our real rest. The Bible tells us, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." Jesus Christ Himself is our ultimate rest. He is our security. He is our place of peace and safety and abundance. What Ruth found in Boaz long ago, we find in Jesus Christ today. And He says to us all, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Far better than any job, any house, any husband or wife, or any ministry position, Jesus is our place and our guarantee of security, safety, fruitfulness, and abundance, both in this life and in the life to come. He died on a cross and rose from the dead 3 days later in order to grant us the amazing privilege of finding our rest in Him. And with Jesus, there is no expiration date.